Bakita House in Lagos. Women religious rehabilitating victims of human trafficking. Motivation, origin, present activities, plans for the future. Paper at a webinar, March 8, 2022, on International Women's Day. Oh, give thanks to the Lord for His good, for His great love endures forever. Psalm 135, verse 1. We are deeply grateful to Ambassador Michel Veuthey and other organizers of this webinar for giving us the opportunity to share various aspects of our life at Bakita St. Louis Empowerment Network. This paper, which presents the work of Bakita House in Lagos, is based on the following. The human person created in the image of God, loved by God, sacred and endowed with dignity by the Creator. Genesis 1. The abundance of the earth with enough resources to sustain all living creatures, and the right of each person to have a good quality of life using these resources. Taken from the social teachings of the Church. The mission statement of the Sisters of St. Louis, in which we commit ourselves to bringing God's love to the whole of creation, especially to the poor and marginalized. Bakita House is one of the many efforts of Nigerian women religious in the fight against human trafficking for forced prostitution. And this paper draws extensively from the studies and personal experience of the writer in her work to rescue, rehabilitate, and reintegrate victims who are trafficked, especially for sexual exploitation. We will now approach this sharing under the following headings: motivation, origin, present activities, plans for the future, challenges, and conclusion. Motivation. As mentioned in the introduction, my formation as a religious, and especially a sister of St. Louis, had raised in me the consciousness of the dignity of the human person and awareness of the effects of poverty in the Nigerian society. Therefore, when the women religious in Italy asked the women religious in Nigeria to partner with them in helping victims of human trafficking, it was a call to put into practice my beliefs and to use my leadership of the women religious to respond to this urgent call of rescuing our fellow women and fellow human beings from the horrific situation of trafficking, rehabilitating them, making them feel loved and respected, and giving them hope as they pick up the pieces of their lives. When I was invited by the women religious of Italy, Unione Superiore Maggiore Italiane, USMI, to visit Italy and see some of the conditions in which girls that had been trafficked lived in Italy and other parts of the world, I could not hold my tears on hearing and seeing how these girls were battered and treated like commodities. This led to our starting the Committee for the Support of the Dignity of Women, COSUDO, in 1996, when I was the president of National Conference of Women Religious in Nigeria. The impact of the trauma that I saw and heard the girls going through moved me to continue with the ministry to the girls, even when I retired from COSUDO in 2013. With the support of my congregation, the Sisters of St. Louis, I started Bakita Empowerment Center in Lagos. Part of the motivation in continuing this work stems from the success stories of the survivors, whom we refer to as our treasures, and who have undergone rehabilitation and reintegration in our shelter. Some of them are happily married with children. Some have their businesses doing very well, even though they are not without challenges. The smiles on their faces and expression of gratitude from them are also motivating factors. Most of all, the desire to reduce, if not totally stop this menace and evil, is a great motivating factor. Origin. As mentioned earlier, it was the passion that fired us to start COSUDO, which led me, with the support and mission of my congregation, to start Bakita in 2013. When the women religious responded to the call of the women religious of Italy, USMI, in 1996, to collaborate with them in rescuing and rehabilitating Nigerian girls and young women that have been trafficked to Europe, especially Italy, I was the national president of Men Religious of Nigeria at that time. When I finished my term as provincial superior of the Nigerian province of my congregation and as president of the Women Religious, I decided to go into full-time in anti-human trafficking ministry with the support and blessing of the Sisters of St. Louis. I continued working with COSUDO, then later became regional coordinator of African Network Against Human Trafficking and regional coordinator of Talitha Kum, which is the global network of religious against trafficking. With my experience as co-founder of COSUDO and working collaboratively with the Women Religious of Nigeria and with Sister Eugenia Bonetti as president of Slaves No More, I knew the importance of establishing a home in Lagos, which is the point of re-entry for the trafficked women and girls when they are either deported or choose to return voluntarily. Therefore, with the support of finance and personnel from my congregation, Bakita Villa was established in 2013, named after Saint Josephine Bakita, the Sudanese saint, who is the patron saint of anti-human trafficking activities. Slaves No More has continued to support Bakita project. Recently, the Sisters of St. Louis went into partnership with the Order of Malta, who assisted the Sisters of St. Louis to complete the work of constructing and furnishing a new extension of the Bakita Villa. Now the shelter can accommodate about 30 ladies comfortably. There is a bungalow that can accommodate 4 mothers with their babies. Location of the project. This project is located in Lagos, a state of about 20 million people. Lagos is a commercial city. It thrives more on business given its location at the coast. It also has some industries and good opportunity for employment. Hence, a lot of people, old and young, find their way to Lagos with the hope of getting a means of livelihood. While some do well to get employment, many end up in poverty and become prey to criminal gangs, traffickers, and others who exploit them using deceptive means. Also, with the international airport in Lagos, it is the first point of entry for girls and boys who are being deported from outside Nigeria after their ordeal with traffickers. If they are not met at the airport and helped to be rehabilitated and reintegrated into the society, the tendency is for them to be drawn back into the nets of the underworld for further exploitation with the possibility of death or imprisonment. Therefore, the Sisters of St. Louis decided to have a safe house which will facilitate their work in providing assistance, legal counsel, vocational training, rehabilitation, and reintegration for victims, especially of human trafficking, who find themselves in Lagos without any recourse to help or assistance. Priority is therefore given to victims of human trafficking. Our present activities. Our present activities are rehabilitation. This is one major aspect of our program, which aims at ensuring restoration of courage, dignity, happiness, and hope to the returnees. When they are brought to the shelter, they are celebrated with a no place like home party. This is to assure them that they are welcomed to their homeland and there is brighter future for them in Nigeria. Counseling. These young persons who were forced into prostitution and forced labor returned to Nigeria traumatized and demoralized. This soul healing program is very vital to our project. A trained counselor, one of the Sisters of St. Louis, is on ground to attend to the victims by carefully listening to their stories and helping them to recover from their psychological trauma. Aside this, other sisters help with counseling of treasures, and sometimes we employ the services of priests for spiritual activities. To God be the glory. A good number of them are very happy with the experiences. Reconciliation and reunification. This is to ensure that they are accepted by their families through family tracing and counseling. Some of them are welcomed with mixed feelings by their families, while some are rejected. This is one of the challenging aspects of our work. Where there is threat from families or former traffickers, we employ the services of the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP. Since the treasures are registered with NAPTIP, once they arrive at our safe house, and we also have lawyers who work with us. Reintegration. This program is provided to survivors of human trafficking. It is aimed at setting them up in businesses of their choice and abilities. They are also given residential accommodation so that they can live in dignity. Since the year 2018, about 25 of the treasures have been reintegrated into the society. They are doing well in their various businesses and work placement. 3 of the treasures currently in the safe house will be graduating from their training of catering, hairdressing and tailoring, fashion and design this February 2022. 6 of the 25 are happily married. One of them had her wedding at St. Anthony Catholic Church, Ottawa, on the 12th of October 2019 in Warri Diocese, Delta State. She has a baby girl. 2 are planning their wedding this Easter. Monitoring and evaluation. When treasures have been set up with any business, we go periodically to monitor them to see how their project is growing and assist them to overcome difficulties and challenges. We also follow them up through phone calls and video calls. Empowerment program. Most of these victims are from poor homes and lack skills or formal education. This aspect of our program for them is to ensure that they go for further studies or learn vocational skills that can give them gainful employment or help them to become self-reliant in the future. It also helps in family strengthening as they also support their families. Mindset reset. This program of mindset reset is usually organized for them to reorientate their minds and bring them to life by training them on how they can reset their minds and focus more on values that keep them close to God and help them to live meaningful lives. They are trained on how to choose and manage their businesses. School campaigns. As a way of combating human trafficking, going to primary, secondary, and tertiary institutions has been an ongoing program in creating awareness to pupils, students, and teachers on the dangers of human trafficking. We highlight the tactics of these traffickers and encourage them to be vigilant and not be deceived or carried away into abandoning their studies for the so-called better life abroad. A book has been produced by the writer for this purpose. International Day of Prayer and Awareness Against Human Trafficking. Every year on February 8, the Feast of St. Josephine Bakita, there's always a rally to sensitize the masses on the ills of human trafficking. This year, 2022, had the theme, The Power of Care, Women, Economy, and Human Trafficking. There was a rally for sensitization in Ekpaja Market in Lagos, radio program and celebration in St. Ferdinand Catholic Nursery and Primary School. All these activities were to mark the feast. Community-based awareness. It is in our program every year to continuously create awareness in the different communities around our environment and other places. We also avail the use of social media like radio programs like Traffic FM 96 and Echo FM 89, both in Lagos. Youth rally market campaigns. These are different avenues of creating awareness in the society on the ills of human trafficking. The services of the youth were employed, equipping them with flyers, microphones, and so on. The market women were not left out in this. The leaders of these groups and other spokespersons from the groups are usually educated to create this awareness on why human trafficking should be stopped. Religious groups. The priests, pastors, imams, and traditional worshippers. We work with these groups since they have the use of the pulpit, the mosque, and shrine, the avenue where there are millions of human beings who go for worship. They help in ensuring that human trafficking is stopped as they speak to the congregation with reference to their different items they use for worshiping, like the Bible, Quran, and bring out where it is against the teaching of God for a human person to be treated like a commodity. Symposium. We organize symposia, annual conference with themes such as Stop Human Trafficking, It is a Sin Against Humanity. Our program also involves field survey, visits to target community leaders, Children's Summit Against Trafficking, capacity building for staff, visitation and reintegration programs for clients, medical checkup for clients, street and neighborhood campaigns, and organizing programs on being productive and overcoming societal and economic challenges. End of year party. The survivors always look forward to this program every year. Christmas is a time to celebrate and share gifts. We celebrate with them to give them a sense of belonging and make them also have a feel of what the society is celebrating and to be in the mood of the festivity. The Christmas party every December, and it is a time for reunion for all of them. They see it as coming home, as some of them spend the night in the shelter. This year it was celebrated on December 11th, 2021, last year. Prevention. Realizing that this evil is thriving and also that the traffickers are now targeting rural areas for their recruitment, we have decided to put more of our energies and resources into prevention. We engage in creating awareness and sensitizing people on the evils and dangers of human trafficking. We go on enlightenment programs such as campaigns to schools, churches, mosques, public places, and youth fora. To do this effectively, we have written a handbook for schools with the title, Stop Trafficking in Women and Children. It is a crime against humanity. There is also a teacher's manual to go with the handbook. Achievements. We are happy to share that we have recorded many success stories. A good number of our treasures got married after reintegration and they are living happily with their families, having been blessed with children. Some younger ones are in higher institutions of learning, universities and polytechnics, while some of them are studying to write WAEC, NECO, JAMB, and processing admission into higher institutions of learning. Some of them acquired skills in such areas as hairdressing, tailoring, event planning, makeup, catering, and selling of provisions. Thanks to Slaves No More, Order of Malta, and their supporters. We cannot thank the Sisters of St. Louis enough for being the brain behind this project and have supported us all the way through. These groups of people have brought hope and happiness into the lives of these downtrodden women. Plans for the future. Getting the treasures employed in businesses related to their skills as some of them are too young and inexperienced to set up business on their own. We hope to form a Bakita support group, Treasures Helping Treasures. Family strengthening is one of our goals as we strive to empower mothers or a member of the family along with the treasure. Having skill acquisition facilities in our Bakita Center. As at now, the only skill facility we have is for bread and chin-chin making. We do not have full facilities for skill acquisition in our center. We have the space but lack the funds for skill acquisition equipment. Because we do not have the facilities in our center, we are compelled to send the survivors out for their training and skill acquisition, which costs us a lot in terms of transportation, fees, and security. If we had a vehicle such as a bus for their transportation, it will greatly reduce the cost and enhance the security of these treasures. It is our greatest desire, therefore, to equip our shelter for skill acquisition in computer, catering, fashion designing, tailoring, hairdressing, and adult literacy classes. In addition to all the above, we shall continue with all that we are doing now in the areas of prevention and advocacy. Challenges. Our greatest challenge is funds to meet the following needs: set up business for our treasures, boost the business of some who are experiencing serious setbacks in their businesses and who have problems renewing their rents, purchase a Toyota Hiace bus to take treasures to school, meet them at airports when deported or when they return voluntarily, go on an awareness and sensitization programs, market survey for their businesses, even take them out on excursions. Printing anti-trafficking handbook and teacher's manual for schools and sensitization programs, and also for printing flyers and pamphlets for awareness programs. For the upkeep of our shelter, administrative costs, and paying the wages of some of the workers. Conclusion. We continue to live in joyful hope and pray that as we remain committed to upholding the dignity of the human person, all other stakeholders, governments, the church, NGOs, men and women of goodwill, will work sincerely and committedly with us to bring an end to this new and horrendous form of slavery. Let us join hands to crush this demon called human trafficking. Thank you and God bless.